this is Bob Reardon from SE Electronics, and today we're going to take a look at the SE USB2200a. The SE USB2200a is a USB mic with a very interesting pedigree to start. First of all, the handmade diaphragm and the electronics come from our award-winning SE2200a. The next big difference that you'll notice is this isn't a USB cable. That's right. The USB 2200 works both over USB and over XLR. So you can use this as a traditional phantom-powered mic, condenser mic, or via USB. Now let's take a look at some of the USB features we're offering on this mic. The USB features offered on the USB 2200a are as follows. First of all, there's a headphone connection that allows you to put headphones in and monitor directly right off the capsule with no latency. This volume control controls the no latency monitoring right off the capsule. The reason why no latency monitor is important is because depending on your computer connection, using the headphones you'll actually get a delay that you will notice between talking and listening. And this feature eliminates the possibility of any delay. There's the normal pad and roll controls that work both in USB mode and in XLR mode. And then here is a switch labeled P and A, PC and Apple. This optimizes the gain of the microphone for both platforms. Now let's take a look inside the USB 2200a. As you can see, the USB 2200a is full of a lot of electronic components. This is a very sophisticated piece of electronics. This block right here is part of the heart of the technology behind the USB 2200a. What this does is solves the most common problem of USB products, which is the regularity of power off the USB interface. So this totally redoes the power off of the USB bus. It buffers it, it filters it, and then upconverts to provide the phantom powering, because this is a true condenser microphone. And by filtering and buffering the power, we can deliver a truly professional signal-to-noise and dynamic range out of the USB 2200a. Another very interesting feature is the USB and the XLR outputs work simultaneously. So you can get output over both. Because of these features, this will substitute with for having a sound card. So this will make it very convenient for people who are doing podcasting and voiceovers. For those who are familiar with the award-winning SE2200a, this adds the USB features at a cost differential of only about $100 for all those additional features. The headphone monitoring, zero latency, Mac and PC compatibility, and dual output. Also, in your PC and your Mac control panel, the volume slider gives you a very wide gain range of over 20 dB. This helps provide the sort of gain range to make the mic usable for many other things besides just podcasting. Because of course, with a normal XLR mic, you'd be going into a mic preamp which would control your gain range, thereby optimizing your signal-to-noise ratio. With most USB mics out there, the gain range, while it may be switchable for a couple of gains, is rather fixed. So this additional control, which controls right back into the microphone, allows the wide gain range.
Hi, this is Owen O'Malley for Crosstalk. I'm here with Bob Reardon of SE Electronics. I'm actually talking through one of their new USB 2200As, which is a combination USB and standard XLR condenser mic. And Bob's going to be speaking through the H1.
Yeah, I'm over here on an H1, Owen, thank you. This is our handheld condenser mic.
So a lot of people have been talking about and sort of concerned about the trend of shipping a lot of manufacturing, electronics manufacturing over to China. A lot of sort of audiophiles are very upset about the fact that, you know, companies even like Mackie and Ampeg have been shipping their facilities over there. On the other end of the spectrum, there's companies like Behringer, which sort of flaunt the fact that they have this sort of like mini city. Where does SE Electronics kind of fit in that spectrum?
Well, thanks for the question, Owen. It is something that I must admit comes up a lot these days. And there are aspects to SE that I guess a lot of people either don't know or wouldn't guess. And one is that, oddly enough, we're an American company. And while our founder was born in China, he actually originally came here as a young man as a visiting professional, as a professor for the state of California teaching composition. And he got a citizenship and, stayed in California. And the company headquarters is actually north of San Francisco. And the interesting connection back to China on this is because it's the land of his birth, he is able to have connections over there that offer our company a different situation than a lot of companies whose founders weren't born in China.
So, by a different situation, how do you mean? Like, go into detail.
Well, a lot of these companies are structured around something that's called OEM, which some of your listeners may have heard too. And what that acronym stands for is Other Equipment Manufacturer. And strangely enough, a lot of things, and it's probably getting to be less of a secret these days, is that you have companies based in the United States and in Europe that are very recognizable U.S. and European brands where either some or all, as you have mentioned, of the product is manufactured in China. SE's never made it a secret of the fact that we have a factory over there, but ours is different because it's not an OEM operation. In fact, our founder was a consultant. He's always been a technologist, aside from a musician and conductor his whole life. And he actually experienced working in the OEM world, in other words, making gear for other manufacturers for a number of years. And, anybody who makes it to the conductor's podium for a major orchestra, which he has been, is certainly somebody who appreciates attention to detail. Yeah. And after working in the OEM world for a few years, he really, wasn't that excited about it. Everybody keeps coming to you and say, hey, can you copy this or make it cheaper or something like that. And if you really value artistically what the products can do, then it's probably not the thing for you. So with encouragement from some people he's been friends with a long time in the audio business, folks like Rupert Neve, Sue has opened about 7 years ago now our own place over in China where we hand build all the microphones. And specifically what the company's known for is our hand-built, hand-tuned capsules. And we've made a major investment in the training of the personnel to do something like this because this is really a master craft sort of operation.
Mm-hmm. So what would be the difference? There's a lot of these companies, like I know Mackie in particular, actually shipped their original U.S. machinery over there, and it's still the same people who are managing their factory here are managing the factory over in China. What is really the benefit of doing sort of like everything, I guess, sort of in-house as opposed to parts outsourcing?
Well, really, the biggest benefit is consistency of product.
Yeah.
I know, not necessarily Mackie, but there are certainly other companies out there, I don't think it would apply to Mackie, who do standard OEM products. Yeah. And when you go overseas, China, and also other parts of the world, it's not only China, right. What happens is from one lot of, say, 1,000 units, whatever your minimum purchase is, to the next, you can't really be guaranteed that all the subcontractors are going to be the same. Typically, you're working with somebody who is coordinating the whole thing, and then they're subcontracting as people are available to meet their deadlines, because, depending on when you put an order in, people are either working on something else and they're not available, so you have to get somebody else. So it's really a consistency sort of thing, and then if you want to really control and perfect your own brand and your own process, you have to own the operation and control it yourself.
Cool. Well, that's great. Thanks very much.
Lovely. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, Owen.
Yeah, very informative.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Cool.